Welcome to Growing Tall Poppies, Thrive After Trauma. I'm your host, Dr. Nat Green, and I am so excited to have you join me as we discuss what it means to navigate your way through trauma or significant challenges and not just survive, but to thrive after it. This is a space for people who've been through trauma or adversity, have done some healing, and know they're meant for more than just coping. This podcast is about post-traumatic growth, not getting back to who you used to be. Rather, understanding who you are now and learning how to stand tall without shrinking, forcing, or abandoning yourself. Here, we explore identity after adversity, integrity and visibility wounds, nervous system wisdom, and what it really takes to move forward in a way that feels aligned, embodied, and true. You will hear a blend of deep solo conversations and powerful guest interviews with people who have lived this work, not just studied it. Because growth doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from understanding how you adapted, honouring your nervous system, and gently updating the old agreements that no longer fit the life you're ready to live. If you're ready to stop hiding, stop performing, and start owning who you are becoming, then you are in the right place. Let's grow tall together. Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of Growing Tall Poppies. I'm so grateful that you've decided to join me today. And there's something I wanted to focus on and chat about today. Something that I think is often misunderstood, and that's what actually happens in your nervous system when your trust is broken. Not just emotionally, but physiologically. Because we tend to think of trust as something relational, something between you and another person, or you and a system. But trust is also something that your nervous system experiences. And when that's disrupted, it doesn't just stay in the situation, it stays within you. So that's what I really want to focus on today. As you know, I've been talking a little bit lately around systems, systemic breaches of trust when systems have let you down. And I just wanted to share what's happened to me in the last week or two and reflect it alongside how it might be showing up in many of you others who are also really high functioning, highly capable, amazing people. So there's moments in life where you expect something to be handled in a certain way. You expect to be heard. You expect to be considered. And you expect to be supported. And when that doesn't happen, it lands really, really hard. Not always loudly, but absolutely always deeply. Because your system isn't just registering what happened, it's registering this wasn't safe in the way that I thought it would be. And that creates a real shift. Sometimes subtle and sometimes more obvious, but a shift, a significant shift nonetheless. And this is a part that often gets missed because it doesn't always show up as distress. It can show up as so many different things. You might be feeling more on than usual. You just can't switch it off. Thinking more than usual, in fact, probably overthinking, overanalyzing, holding more than usual, taking on more, feeling like there's that over responsibility, and ultimately finding it harder to switch off. You might notice that you're double checking things, second guessing yourself, not really sure. You're overthinking your decisions, or you're holding tighter to control over things. You're less willing to delegate or to let go. If you can recognize any of those things in yourself right now, I just want you to stop and just reflect. Take a minute. So it can feel like, why am I like this right now? But the reality is that your system knows. It's responding to a perceived loss of safety because, as we know, the body always keeps the score. So what does your system do? It adapts. It starts to take on more, manage more, control more, rely on yourself more. You get the gist. And I'm sure so many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Not because you want to, but because your system is trying so hard to restore safety in the only way it knows how. It's trying to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So you become even more self-reliant, more aware, more responsible, and over time, more exhausted. And this is something that has been very present for me recently. And I know for a lot of other people in my world, because you've been DMing me, sending me messages, emails, and telling me, oh my goodness, it's good to know that I'm not alone. So as we reflect on this, we need to think about it not just in external situations, but internally as well. I've had moments, for example, where I've noticed myself holding more, even more than I usually do, being more on guard, a bit hypervigilant, more aware, and more in control. And at the same time, I've also been doing some deeper work where I've realised that there are still layers of trust that I'm working through, even after all the work that I've done. And that's a really important reminder that these patterns really don't just disappear. They reveal themselves. And the funny thing is, they reveal themselves at the level that you're ready to work with them at. You won't see them until you are ready to move to that next level or that next layer. So that's the piece that I really want you to hear. It's not that you don't trust. It's that your system doesn't feel safe enough to. And that's a really different thing. Because if you approach this as, I just need to trust more, testing people out with small little incremental bits, testing yourself out in small little ways, you'll end up pushing against something and you'll resist it even more because you're pushing against something that's actually trying to protect you. But if you understand it as, my system doesn't feel safe yet, then the work changes. It becomes about creating safety, building capacity, and allowing your system to soften just a little bit at a time. And here's where this ties into growth. Because as you expand, as you step into something bigger, your system will naturally look for, is this safe? And if there are any unresolved patterns at all, they will most definitely bubble to the surface. Not to stop you, but to be integrated. And this is why it can feel like, I thought I'd already worked through this. But what's actually happening is that you're meeting it at a deeper level. So what do you want to do with this? Not by forcing yourself to trust, as I said, but by starting here. Let's start with noticing where you're holding more than usual. You're holding on to something or you're overdoing. Notice where you feel more on, and notice where your control has increased. And instead of judging it, get curious. Just get curious. Ask, what is my system trying to protect me from right now? Then gently introduce safety. That might look like slowing your breath down, softening your body, letting something be incomplete, and allowing yourself not to hold everything. These are small but important moments that tell your system you don't have to stay braced. Because the truth is, when trust is broken, your system adapts, not to hold you back, but to protect you. And when you understand that, you can start to work with it instead of against it. And that is where real change begins. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Growing Tall Poppies. If you are struggling with anything that I talked about today and you're feeling like, I can relate, not really sure what to do next, then connect with me, send me a DM, because I'd love to talk more and help you maybe navigate your way through that. Because I want you to keep standing tall, like the tall poppy that you were always destined to be, and keep shining your light brightly, because the world needs you just as you are. Have a great week. Bye for now. Thank you for spending this time with me on Growing Tall Poppies. My hope is that today's episode has offered you something more than insight, that it's helped you feel a little more connected to who you are now, a little more trusting of your body, and a little more permission to stand tall without shrinking or forcing yourself forward. Post-traumatic growth isn't about fixing yourself or returning to who you once were. It's about understanding how you adapted, honouring your nervous system, and gently choosing what no longer needs to come with you. New episodes of Growing Tall Poppies are released weekly, every Tuesday, and I'd love for you to continue walking this path with us as we explore identity after adversity, integrity and visibility wounds, nervous system wisdom, and what it truly means to grow forward, grounded, aligned, and embodied. If this episode resonated, I invite you to subscribe, follow, share it with someone that you feel might need it, or simply take a quiet moment to reflect on what's ready to move forward for you. You can also find me on Instagram at Dr. Nat Green, on Facebook at Dr. Natalie Green, or over on YouTube at Dr. Nat Green. And remember, you don't need to rush, and you don't need to hide anymore. Stay connected, stay true, and keep standing tall like the tall poppy you are. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.